Kong Skull Island is a magnificent and impressive giant monster epic released back in 2017, featuring Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson. It was the first film leading to the epic of Kong vs. Godzilla, which gives you another reason to rewatch Kong and his heroics. Because this was the first attempt of this series, we discovered some mistakes in the movie which we present to you. Welcome to Movie House. Here are 30 mistakes from Kong Skull Island. In the opening scene, the plane crashed on a beach. Then we get into the chase scene where the pilot gets into a jungle and reaches a cliff. This is not possible geographically. A cliff so near to a beach is impossible. One at least cannot make a run for it. The American pilot fires shots at the Japanese pilot, emptying his .45. As he starts to pull the trigger, a clicking sound can be heard. When a .45 is empty and the slide is locked back, the trigger is also locked out, so it's impossible for it to be clicking. The American pilot is wearing a yellow vest, which disappears when he enters the jungle. When Randa and Brooks go to get approval for the mission from Senator Willis, the computer terminals being used are Digital Equipment Corp V2-100s, introduced in late 1978. And this movie is set in 1973. In the photo of USS Lawton, the name of the ship is painted on the sides of the bow, but U.S. warships have the name written on their stern and not on the bow. While Randa and Brooks are speaking with Senator Willis in the corridor outside his office, we see a woman wearing a red dress pass by them. A few shots later, the same woman is seen to be walking back at them. This brown cylindrical thing at Packard's office is changing its place between shots. Packard brings out a Rocky Patel box of cigars in which he keeps his medals, but the company Rocky Patel has been around since 2002. The gate guard informs Packard that he has received a phone call. Packard approaches the payphone, unhooks the receiver, and begins speaking. With a payphone, this would have been impossible. The guard would have had to take the call and then unhook the receiver.
Sure, you could load up on the atabrine for the malaria, but what about the other bacteria?
Conrad says, sure, you could load up the atabrine for the malaria, but what about the other bacteria? Malaria is caused by a protozoan parasite, not a bacterium. At Weaver's introduction, she is inspecting black and white film in her darkroom by holding it up to the light. The edge marking says Kodak 400TX. This was not available in 1973. Before boarding the ship, Weaver is detailing her military experience to Packard and mentions that she was embedded with MAC-V SOG. The practice of embedding journalists with military units during wartime didn't become a formal practice until the Iraq War of 2003. The Athena is seen with a CH-47 Chinook helicopter on the bow, 4 UH-1 Hueys amidships, and 1 CH-53 Sea Stallion on the stern in the opening shot. At least 10 Hueys are visible in the later scene. What happened to the other helicopters? Perhaps a couple more could have fit inside, but there's a lot more. Landsat Steve is referred as a data wrangler. Well, it's a 21st century job title, and it couldn't have existed in 1973. The satellite that produced the imagery is called Landsat in the film. The satellite launched in 1972 was called Earth Resources Technology Satellite, ERTS. Its name was changed to Landsat in 1975, 2 years after the film was set. The cargo ship displays a giant no smoking sign in red letters, though it's a good reminder for the viewers. No ship in the 70s would have had such instructions prominently painted on the deck. After the crew reaches the island, they are mesmerized by the beauty, and Weaver is seen taking pictures of it. A soldier is seen sitting behind her, but later disappears as if nobody's behind her. These computer graphics are way beyond 1973. It just cannot be possible in the 70s. Speaking of computer graphics and technology in the 21st century, we have come a long way in these fields, and Pixar Animations are one studio that is breaking barriers with one movie after the other. It all started with Toy Story, and here is our video of 13 Easter eggs from Toy Story. You can also check out 13 mistakes from the movie Soul. Coming back to Skull Island. During the helicopters versus King Kong fight, the time of day changes multiple times. Here is a totally sunset shot, but then it comes back to daylight. While Cole is eating, the helmet beside him changes position between shots. Chapman hides behind a rock after filling his canteen as Kong approaches. Kong attends to wounds in the water, but is attacked by a giant squid. Despite the aggressiveness of the activity and the splashing of the water, no waves reach the shore. Packard goes to shoot that ugly-ass bird. We see him aiming with his left hand, but after he shoots and puts the rifle down, it's on his right hand. Packard wears a baseball-style cap with an adjustable strap in the back. In 1973, the U.S. Army only wore fitted caps. The identification band on Marlowe's fighter jet shows a red outlining. This is a mistake, as all red outlining were removed from U.S. markings in 1943. He crashed on Skull Island in 1944. When Mason is taking photos of the local tribe, her film advance lever moves from the normal right-hand side of the camera to the left-hand side of the camera. The viewfinder also swaps sides. The Cobb Bar combat knife has serrations on the back edge of it. These serrations are copyrighted pattern of the Spyderco Company that didn't exist before 1981. Prop alert! The moment Cole drops the AK-47 to surrender himself to the Skull Crusher, you see the wooden end bend, revealing it's a rubber prop. When Brie Larson climbs the hill to fire the flare, the surface of the hill changes substantially between shots. Sometimes it's a rugged, rocky hilltop, sometimes it has vegetation on it, and sometimes it's a rounded hilltop. When Mason shoots her first flare, her bag strap is from her left shoulder to the right, but when she shoots the second flare towards the Skull Crusher, it's inverted. Kong saves Weaver from drowning, and we see Weaver lying on Kong's hand sideways, but after the fight, she frequently changes her position on Kong's hand, being unconscious. And that's all from our side in this video. If you like it, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. If you have any more mistakes to mention, do write them down in the comment section below. Also, check out our other videos on our channel and dive into the world of movies.